Good morning and welcome to Vital Health Radio, presented by the Vascular Institute and Vein Clinic, 98.1 Radio, and also available on all podcast platforms 3 days after the show. So sit back, relax, and get ready to discover the healing potential of nature's pharmacy. Whether you're a seasoned natural health enthusiast or just starting your journey, there's something for everyone on Vital Health Radio. I am Ed Jones, the founder of Nutrition World here in Chattanooga and growing since I opened it in 1979. And joining me is the guru of the common man. And the one statement Scott made right before I came over, I said, I'm not sure what to say about Clint on this show. He said, well, you know, as big as Clint is, he actually does have wide shoulders. So I wrote that down. And I'm not sure if that
makes zero sense. But thanks, Scott. As big as he does have, I appreciate that, Scott. Trying to give me a little love. I appreciate that. I'd like to say that I am responsible for getting Scott on the radio, though. I mean, he wouldn't do it until I pressured him last week. So thank you for being a guest, Scott.
That's right. He handled it well and only had about a gallon of sweat on his forehead.
Yeah, and his this won't be the first time he's ever heard of this, but that was a really good 10 seconds he gave us.
Yeah, like who's the guy in Talladega, Bobby?
Yeah, Talladega Nights.
Yeah.
And Cody got that joke. Thank you, Cody. I appreciate that. That was good. Hey, just real quick, I just want to make sure, because now that Cody is filming this, good. I like your shirt. Good color today. We went blue.
Yes,
blue.
Sir. We did. I got your
I'm glad.
text.
I was going to say we text this morning. What are you wearing, Ed?
I was sitting on the commode when you text me talking about the angle of, that I'm going to talk about.
Oh, you're going to talk about today. Is that today?
So what an intro for that.
Let's get
Because last week I was teasing about I'm going to talk about the right angle on a commode to have the proper elimination. And Clint doesn't particularly like those kind of conversations. But this is science-based.
I don't mind them. It's just it seems that you gravitate to them a little bit. It's like a fascination. You're like, yeah, well, let's talk about poop.
It's important.
Hey, Ed.
Yes, let's talk about
what angle should our butts be?
It's going to be on segment 3.
Oh, wow.
You have to hang on to know what angle at the toilet you need to have healthy pooping. Okay? Hey, did you hear?
I know it is the down direction, though, but continue on. Sorry. Yeah.
It's definitely not up.
Yeah.
You heard about Jonathan the tortoise, I guess, did you?
Oh, of course I have. Yeah. I wouldn't have heard, no.
Actually, Scott told me about it. And
I don't know what we're talking about.
It's so cool. The story, I love these kind of stories. Absolutely 100% documented. He's 192 years old. He was brought to an island in the British Isles in 1832 with documentation of this tortoise. And he's now the oldest living creature on Earth.
Huh.
And he looks really good. He looks like a middle-aged tortoise. And
I was just saying, what scale are we using? You just threw that out there. He looks great for a 200-year-old turtle. Oh, okay.
I want to know what supplements he's taking. And I want to know what kind of diet. Do turtles eat meat or are they vegetarian? I don't even know.
I don't know.
Well, I would say if they're not vegetarian because they would eat fish out of the water.
Okay.
So they're kind of carnivore like I am.
Welcome back to the Wild Kingdom with Ed Jones. I have no idea.
I want to say, just because people really, really don't care about where I eat, but the last week or two, I've enjoyed a Bad Daddy's with wrapped in cabbage and lettuce, not cabbage, instead of a bun. So it lowered the carbs. Excellent. With a salad, with my olive oil on the salad. Portofino's always a hit. Every 2 weeks, usually.
I was there the other night with my kid.
Where are you? What'd you eat? Spaghetti.
Meatballs.
Pasta.
Yeah, spaghetti meatballs.
Okay.
Every time.
I had shish kebabs and broccoli and a salad with the olive oil. And El Primo. Haven't been there in a year. Had an excellent meal at El Primo.
Oh, okay.
I want to talk a little bit before we get into the meat of everything about the value of AI, artificial intelligence, and how it worked in my favor this week. It is going to change the world far more than when we first started to say it was going to change the world. And again, I've repeated the word Scott several times on this show. He was doing some plumbing under his sink about 3 weeks ago or two and went to Lowe's to get some parts to try to get the leak fixed, and it didn't work. Very frustrated. So he decided to take a chance and take a picture of this leaky faucet under the sink for AI.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't 15 seconds later, AI spit back exactly what he needed to fix it. He goes to the store, had the part numbers and everything, perfect, fixed it, unbelievable. So I started thinking, I had this button on the dashboard of my Genesis car that I have never known what it is. It's got a weird little angle of a car. It looks like it's going down a mountain, but I didn't know what it was. I'm not going to look in the book. I would sell the car before I would look in the book.
Wow, okay.
And so, I wonder if that AI could tell me what that was. About 7 seconds later, absolutely told me exactly what it was. I have a spot on my hand that I know is from not being young, and when I bang it, the capillaries are starting to leak. I took a picture of it, sent it in, absolutely diagnosed it perfectly. In a study that was done just recently comparing physicians' diagnostic skills to an AI diagnostic skill, they put AI was 90% accurate, and in a staff of 15 different physicians, the best they could get was 30% accurate. It is going to up the game of those who are in skill sets that require being very good to even start to compete with AI. I'm sure that soon, if not already, they will be reading X-rays.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, they will. And I'm not really sure what platform they're using. I'm assuming they're using the ones you're paying for that are really good. I use ChatGPT a lot. And for an hour and 30 minutes a month ago, it told me that Joe Biden won the election this year, and he's done a lot of good things for the economy, and it was giving me specific bills he had passed. So I don't know how much I would trust that. Me and Jeff Stiles were doing a podcast, and I looked it up, and I kept refreshing it, thinking it was a glitch. And for the whole show, for about 40 minutes of that whole show, it told me that Joe Biden won the 2024 the 2023 election or 2024 election. And
that's why I'm on Perplexity, not ChatGPT.
And I've heard good things about that one.
Yes, Perplexity.
I've heard that really good things about that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I use it now with clients constantly when they ask a question about
Is it paid for real quick? Is there a free
have
version?
one free and one paid for.
And
I haven't paid for it.
Okay,
it's doing extremely well.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out.
But as far as questions. Like the lady just a little bit earlier I talked to about oxalates, she was asking about a certain food. Well, I just typed in AI and it instantly told me, how much oxalates was in this food. I am so pleased with it. Last thing, the podcast room's lock, as well as digital locks, you push the buttons in. Well, Dumbo me, I hit the wrong buttons too many times and it did something really weird. So I had to crawl out of the window in order to do it. Well, so Scott calls the locksmith $190 to come fix it. He decides to take a picture of it. Like 5 minutes later, he's got it fixed. Nothing.
Via AI. Yeah.
All AI. Yeah. Yes. Health Fair, October 4th. Please, everybody, put that in your calendars. It is not only fun. I think it's important because here's your chance to interact with people who are on the top of their game as far as health, nutrition, practitioners. We have lectures for 30 minutes long from about 12 different people. You get to choose who do you want to come or come see all of them. This is the learning experience. I fear that, we're in a world, and I know I've been there sometimes, where I just tread water and I don't learn anything. I don't journey and out of anything other than the hamster wheel of Edward Jones's life. And sometimes you can only do that, but I think we were built to expand our consciousness and our brains, and that's one reason why I'm playing violin every morning and taking a lesson from a wonderful instructor. If anyone out there wants to start a new creative hobby that helps your brain neurons, violin would certainly be it. It's one of the toughest instruments, but I find great pleasure in it, and I'll be happy to share my teacher's name. So are you interested in violin, Clint?
No, I'm not interested in me playing the violin or you playing the violin.
If you heard me play, you would have no interest in me playing the violin.
Here's how prophetic I am. I don't even have to hear you play, and I know that I'm not interested in you playing the violin. That's how intuitive I am.
Whoa.
There's only one person I've ever enjoyed playing the violin, and he played the fiddle. His name is Charlie Daniels.
Oh my gosh,
that's it.
You old country hick.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna take that. I'm a little heathen, little hood, little hick, little holy. That's me.
We'll take it. We'll get a shirt made. How about that, Cody?
That's great.
We'll get a shirt.
I'm all the H's. I'm the 4-H club, baby. Yes.
All right, brother. Well, it's time to take a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking to James from Nutrition World, new staff member, had an interesting journey of life. I love people's stories, and Clint does too. That makes very good information and entertainment to listen to someone who really wants to tell about the hardships of their life. So we're going to have that and a lot more to come as we continue. time flies by when you're having this much fun and get to pick
Absolutely.
on somebody like Clint.
Yeah, I feel good. You've even trained the camera guy and your social media guru, Cody. Cody's chiming in with this stuff now.
It was right.
I mean, and he never even looked up.
No.
You'll say something and he'll be like actually doing blah, 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 and he just chimes right in.
It's a team approach.
It is. It goes to the ego, though. How to bash Clint ego approach. Yeah.
Hey, I love our team members. We have an all-star staff, and we continue to attract people who are superstars in the field of nutrition, health, life experience. I value the PhD of life as much as any credentialed PhD out there because, Lordy, you can't get too much wisdom usually from just study. It comes from living a life of a lot of ups and a lot of downs sometimes. And we have added to our staff a great gentleman named James. Welcome to Vital Health Radio.
Thank you, Ed. So happy to be here.
You know,
Clint.
I know a little bit about your path, but I also know the reason I hired you and Scott hired you was because you have a vast passion and interest in the whole concept of integrative health. And what does that actually mean? It means putting together a plan of action to assist the body in healing itself. And traditional thinking doesn't really go down that path. Traditional thinking tends to think that we are a Ford F-150 truck, and when something's wrong, then you are going to fix that one part and everything will be hunky-dory. But the problem is that's not the way the human body works. And healing, now, if it's a broken leg, it is. You put a cast on it, just like you'd fix a piece of a car. But generally, almost exclusively, chronic health has to do with so many different parts to this puzzle of balance, homeostasis, nutritional support, emotional support, sleep. You make a whole page of it. That's one reason nutrition's kind of become a wellness center. And, you know, we really focus on the bigger picture of the whole being, That was our conversation, James, before Scott and I said, yeah, you got to come and join our staff. And, you know, since then I've got to know you a little better. And you certainly, I'm going to put words in Clint's mouth. And Clint, go ahead and ask the question that you like to ask.
I'm going to. Do me a huge favor. Just make sure when he talks, his mic's up a little bit. I'm just saying real-time stuff. You can wait till he talks and double-check it, but I was making sure we can hear him. My question is, you got to Nutrition World. First of all, what got you to nutrition? What was the attraction? Were you already a shopper there? Were you already a customer? And then what got you into the life of the holistic approach? Like what was the catalyst that you said, okay, I've got to go down this path?
Okay, so about 6 years ago was the first time I came into Nutrition World, and I just fell in love with the staff, with the layout of the store, with all the supplements. I was that weird guy that kept asking, can I help you? I'm like, no, I'm just looking. This is so cool. I was in there for an hour sometimes and would just leave with a couple of things. Like just looking around. But before that, what got me into this sort of thing in general, I mean, it was probably 10, 12, 15 maybe years ago. I don't really know. I was working in IT, man, just bored, like listening to podcasts. And I got onto this Joe Rogan thing. This dude was putting butter and MCT oil in his coffee. I was like, what is this weirdo talking about? So I tried it. You know what they say, the best experiment is just to try it out on yourself. So that's what I started doing, man, just trying things out on myself, and started with that weird fatty coffee in the morning.
Did it work?
It felt great.
Yeah.
It felt so good, man. So I just kept listening to this guy and trying other things on myself that he suggested. And they call it biohacking now. So, you know, it's like red lights and those weird glasses. And
but let me ask you this, and I want you to keep going, and I'll hand it back to Ed to navigate. Real quick, now that people hear this, they may not listen to Joe Rogan. They may have never heard of putting butter and MCT in your coffee. What does that do? Tell everybody what that does.
Yeah, man.
You get to be somebody's Joe Rogan right now.
Okay, cool.
So go for it.
Yeah, what's great about it is it puts ketones in your brain, in your body for you, so you can actually have some carbs like the night before, or you can even have carbs with the MCT oil and butter, and you still have the effects of the ketones in your brain, which is great because you're burning two sources of fuel at once, the glucose and the ketones. That's what I like about it.
And people lose weight normally, lose fat, have more energy.
I'm going to have to go cut me some MCT.
It was revolutionary in its day, Dave Asprey, which I've seen in person in Anaheim. And I remember the first few times I tried it, it was like, where has this been? You know, it's kind of old school now around.
But it still would work, right? I mean,
It
for
still
people,
works.
people have never tried it.
Yeah,
still
I love
work.
MCT oil. It's called medium chain triglyceride. It has the ability to fuel us very
Is that
efficiently.
only an oil? Like, is that a pill too? And this is just me being naive.
It's just an oil.
It's a derivative of coconut oil.
Yeah.
Okay.
They spin it in a centrifuge. And
Well, I put the coconut. You know, there's coconut stuff you sell in there.
You can do it with coconut oil.
I put that in my coffee.
Yes.
In the mornings.
Yes, you can do it like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you're kind of doing
that
it.
gives you some of them.
Holy mackerel! But I just put a little bit. I don't put a ton.
It's better than nothing, man.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And so keep going down how you got to this path. That got you started into it, right? And then where would the journey take you next? What was the next thing after you started listening to Joe Rogan and started trying these things? Was it like aha moments? You started having those?
Yeah, just epiphany after epiphany. Hey, if this works, well, let's try this too. And this thing works, and this thing works, and let's remove this. Food was a big one. Like food stuff I was eating every day was just making me sick, and I didn't realize it.
You know, that's
so
a good
cutting
point,
that
James.
out.
I don't mean to interrupt, but often it's what can I take and what can I add, and sometimes it's about subtraction, isn't
Exactly.
it?
Big time. Yeah. And now I'm getting to the point where maybe I'm taking like too many supplements. I need to put them in
No,
some
you're not.
powders.
No, you're not. No,
No, I'm just joking.
I'm talking to the wrong guy there.
Yeah.
A different show. That's a different radio show. It's called Not Ed Radio. You might have heard of it. So let me ask you this, though. You say you took food away. Give some people examples. What is some stuff you stopped eating, and what did you use as some stuff you started putting in your diet? Because, again, everybody hears this, and they're like, I should do that, but they don't know where to start. Maybe they don't know what's really bad for them, what's really good for them.
Sure. So, I mean, what worked well for me, at least, was removing grains and dairy. and
Grains.
mostly processed food. Like if I can avoid sugar, that's another big benefit. I just feel different, man. And once I did this for several months, it was like I said earlier, it was like I was driving an old beat up car, and then I found a new car. It was like this awesome Ferrari, and I didn't realize that I could feel that good running that clean of fuel. So that's what made me want to continue down that lifestyle. But man, it's so much harder living this modern life with the family. But it's like 80-20 is the way I like to live now. You know, it's not worth trying to stress over, be 100% perfect with that
Yeah.
sort of stuff.
Yeah, Clint does
Just going
80-20 the
crazy.
wrong way. He does
Yeah, well, that's why I have
right.
I have what they use, the Gremlin, the old car, the Gremlin. Y'all go
Oh,
look
the
that car
Gremlin.
up. That's me. I'm the Gremlin.
And they
of the
made him
car
purple.
industry.
Remember that? They
I don't know.
actually had purple.
No, that's
in
the Gremlin. You're thinking about the McDonald's character. That was Gremlin.
No, it's the car, Clint.
I don't think it's a big green Gremlin, but yeah, sure. Whatever it is, whatever color I need to be, I'm the Gremlin of the cars. I'm not a Ferrari.
We're all blue today. It's okay. Nobody's purple.
I'm
That's
going
right.
to I'm going to interject because I know our time will run out very fast, and everyone who comes on here says, "I can't believe how fast 18 minutes went by," and when they like have a whole book they want to talk about. I am a huge follower of any things in life that seem to bring me back into the inner peace within myself and to learn more about who am I really? Who am I really when I'm not the owner of Nutrition World and not the father of Katie and I'm not this and I'm not that? And I know after you came to work that you certainly have been somewhat on that path with Joe Dispenza. Joe Dispenza is an extremely popular and I think a very well guided man who can help educate us as to living on a different level. You want to give us some little comments about how that journey began and where it went?
Sure. I found him a couple years, maybe 5 years ago. And over the course of 3 years or so, I've been to 12 of his week-long
Wow.
retreats.
Well, where were they?
All over the world. Most of
are
them
they?
in Central, South America, Florida, Australia.
I didn't realize they were outside the country.
A lot of them were.
Okay.
And that was some of the best ones anyways. But what I really learned, was, like you said, who I am when I'm not pretending to be all these things. And so I try to follow Dr. Joe's lead, man. He is like the king still, in my opinion, to this day. I love listening to him still. And, I just try to take probably an hour and a half, 2 hours every day for myself in the morning to really just be quiet and think and try to plan the future. Because, everything does start with that intention. And that's what I've learned is I'm really into that sort of thing. So
I love that conversation because it's not a common one, and we as a nation are absolutely terrified, especially as men, with solitude, and to learn to be at peace without other conversations except our own, and then to learn also as a practice to not be ruled by the thoughts and to actually not trust our thoughts most of the time. They're there to
Or at
help
least
us.
to question them.
That's right. Question them. They're there to help us most of the time, but they're a wonderful servant and an awful master is what they are. So I don't know hardly anybody who's been to Joe Dispenza much, but certainly not as many times as you have. Is that a path you think you will continue on for the rest of your life? Have that planted that deep of a seed?
It seems to be so far. It's still like thy number one interest. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So who knows?
And it's not a religion.
No, I don't
not
think so
at all. It's
No.
a practice, right?
Yeah, it's just science based.
Yes.
That's what he teaches. It's just the science is the modern language of mysticism.
How many people would come to one of those events?
Between 2,000 and 2,500
That many?
nowadays. Mm-hmm.
And that's not cheap either, was it?
No, I mean it was probably about $2,000 each, plus
Uh-huh.
hotel fees, flight, getting there.
That's pretty cool.
But it was worth it.
Yeah.
I wish I'm going to go back again maybe one day.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know what? I think the best thing that I've took away from it is how to integrate the lessons back into my own life. So it was a fun retreat, learning that sort of thing. But is it something that I need to keep doing every so often? Maybe, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe when my kids are older. Who knows?
Yeah. Things do change when your kids leave the house.
Yeah.
So I know a little bit, just you told me right before, I read right before we came on, you had some pretty rough times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Talk a minute about that?
Sure. I mean, to summarize it, I guess I lived out of my car for a couple of months. What I did was when I decided to travel and explore the world, I decided to withdraw all of my 401k. I was thinking, this is probably part of COVID relief program. I didn't look into it good enough. So I learned that lesson the hard way. Lots of fines when you take all your 401k out. And I put it into Bitcoin. And I was like, I'm retired. Look at me travel the world. And that lasted about a year. That was fun. But then I had to start over from scratch.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a big lesson that I took from that for sure.
Well, you could either be destroyed by that or you could be almost recover with some of the value of life by what you went through. And it sounded like you did the positive side.
That's right. I think it's all about the person that you become along the journey. It's not like I have a goal of how much money I need to make or how many people I need to help, but it's the person that I want to become along the journey to get to that place.
That's pretty cool. And I see you helping people, though, in a really kind, hopeful, one-on-one interactions.
That's what I was going to ask you real quick because I know we got 3 or 4 minutes. What have you've been a customer at Nutrition World for years. Now you're on the other side. What have you learned about Nutrition World, and what's the thing you like doing the most at Nutrition World so far?
I've learned that it's even better on the inside.
I love that. There you go.
How so? In what way?
I can't tell you.
Yeah.
No, you are on the inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like it's like a family. It's
Yeah.
the community. It's the culture that you've created there, honestly. That's what it is, man, the people.
And you've been to Trinity Naturopathic School, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
So you have a pretty good, substantial amount of training on natural philosophies, which is quite impressive. That's not an easy certification to get, for sure.
Yeah, I do have an ND, but it's just equal to like a PhD. It's not a license to practice medicine.
Yeah, and
or
Tennessee
anything.
doesn't allow it in Tennessee to do that anyway. But it's all about knowledge. It's all about experience. It's all about what can you do to help not only yourself, but the outside community and culture.
Is the learning part you like? Because I know you're a big practitioner of all this stuff, but on the following, but also you can't be that up on every SKU and product in there until now you're in there and you're like, oh my gosh.
There's so much more than you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
And I learn a lot from the staff there, but even more so, honestly, from the customers, because there's just so many different variations, and most of them are really well researched, and they know their stuff. They're teaching me stuff. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Well, even if they bring you in a problem, it probably forces you to think outside the box and help them find a solution. Like,
That's right.
I don't know. Let's go figure this out together.
There you go. It's
That's so
much
true.
fun.
Just like the lady I actually had an hour before this show, I didn't realize she was going to ask me about oxalates. Hey, nobody's more well-read about oxalates than I am. I think this lady was equal. I mean, she had every right question to ask, has been through it. She understands it. She just needs some tweaking. She needs a little bit of encouragement, which is often for all of us. So you're right, James. Many times the customer is the teacher for me. But again, when we have people on the level of Dr. Kurt Deering, the pharmacist, we have Thera, the nurse practitioner, Julia, the registered dietitian, even down to the level of, again, I talk about life PhDs. Look at Marianne. Marianne is 82, been doing this in nutrition stores for about 40 years, and she learns the same way that many of us do, just by doing and been working and listening. She's a walking encyclopedia. I mean, Alicia, who came from Life Extension. I just can't believe the amount of people who know more than I do.
Yeah, I just love hearing some of them talk. They could just be on here forever talking.
I said that for Clint's benefit. I want to see what kind of
if you don't know if you're a body language expert, but every time Ed says something he thinks is clever, he can't help but it's a fraction of a smile, just a beeping, like a quick upturn of the lips and a little shoulder shiver. He just does the little.
You pick up on that micro
and then
expression,
then all of a sudden he goes. And then he glances at me like, take that. I'm like, okay, you got me.
A micro expression. I like that. Well, we hope that, again, you're here with us for years and years. I see a great path for you.
Me too.
I know you and I have spoke, and we'll wind it down, but we spoke about eventually, in months, getting you to help other people on more of this journey that you and I have in common somewhat, which is the learning of our real self inside. Again, zero religion. It's a practice. And we don't have many people in Chattanooga who actually understand the value of that kind of journey in life. So I know that you'll be expressing those life experiences to help other people. Similar like my hips went bad because of oxalates. I didn't know beans about oxalates till my hips went bad, and then I'm convinced oxalates caused it. Well, that makes you want to be more of an expert in the community, which then allows you to help other people.
Yep,
just like you and all your times of up and down and recovering yourself, and and losing everything and starting over is such a hard place. But what an education if we can keep our heart and soul open to that.
Amen.
What a learning place to be. So thank you for being part of the nutritional world. And anybody who comes in, you're full-time, James, and he's got his own walking encyclopedia, so please look him up.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. I rarely get super excited. I always get stoked. I love my industry. I love the green pharmacy, supplementation, foods, diets, anything that changes the focus of the future for positive. I want to learn all I can. We'll never learn all because we won't ever know all, but there's finally a study that came out that I didn't know about it at all till last week, and it was in the Frontiers of Cardiovascular Medicine. So the first thing I did, Clint, was at that point, actually ask me what the first thing I did.
Hold on a second, I'm yawning from listening. What was the first thing you did, Ed?
Okay, first thing, because I was skeptical, because this study...
real quick, not only what was the first thing you did, but why did you do it again? Why were you...
There you go.
Why did you do the first thing? Go ahead, sorry.
That's why you're a professional podcaster.
Yep.
Because it triggered me in a way that rarely has, because the results of this study is life-changing in cardiovascular medicine. So the first thing I said was, I wonder if this Frontiers of Cardiovascular Medicine is actually a legit journal, because there's so many publications out there that mimic themselves as a top level when in fact they're not. So what I do, I go to AI, and that doesn't mean AI is 100% accurate, but they're the best source we have. And I look up this journal, absolutely very credible, long history, very respected in the medical community. And so that really inspired me, because there's a product that we sell called nattokinase. You take that?
I don't know. It may be snuck into one of the pills you make me take at the
point. Natto is a food in the Orient. Natto is an unusual food that I do not like. I've eaten it before. And it has a substance in it called nattokinase. And what that does is it is amazing to help maintain proper viscosity of the blood system so that you don't get thick blood. And so your reduction, perhaps, of clots and other things is modestly effective. And I use it anytime I travel. I actually take one pill a day always. But when I travel, I take 2 or 3, sitting on a plane, sitting on a car, because even healthy people can have a high incidence of that. I don't want blood thinners. The high risk does not equal it. So what they did was they did a study where they gave very high doses of nattokinase for 12 months, and they gave what's called 10,000 units. And that's equivalent to about 200, 10 pills would be about 8 pills. There are about 8 of these capsules a day. I've never known anybody to take that. What happened after 12 months was truly nothing short of remarkable. And what it was is, and this was a big study, plaque regression rates minimum was 66% and all the way to 95%, depending on individual factors.
So I do take this, but that's different than this, right?
That has a tiny bit in there. Maybe one of their formulas, that one may not have low in there. The blood pressure formula has nattokinase in it.
Okay.
By them.
Are you saying, so this is the one that says it actually reverses plaque?
Yes.
Oh,
reverses plaque by 66 to 95.4%. No adverse effects were reported. It did take 12 months to do this.
12 months or 12 weeks?
12 months.
12 months, okay.
And what it does is directly targets what's called the fibrin matrix. Fibrin is something in the blood test called fibrinogen. Well, fibrin has to do with how the clotting action of the body is, and it produces what we need that because you'll bleed to death if you don't. And then secondarily on the study, they stacked it to even get better results with small low-dose aspirin of 81 milligrams and vitamin K2. And like they say on here, why this should be an international news but isn't? Well, it's because nattokinase can't be patented. There is zero profit to be made in the big picture with big companies. But this is going to be, people like me are going to spread this news.
I would love to find a supplement that's got those in them. But my thing to you, though, is I know you mentioned the one food that has it in there. Is there other foods you can get this from?
That's the only food. And, we sell a lot of nattokinase already. It's just simple capsule. I will be taking 8 capsules a day for the next 12 months. Since I just turned 68, which means I can soon say I'm heading to 69.
Yeah, I wish you happy birthday, by the way. Happy birthday.
Did. I answered it too, Clint.
Yeah, you did. That's rare for you. You normally quit bothering me. But
I never listen to audio voice messages. I hate them.
I didn't. I sent you a text, though, because I realized that you don't listen. I can send you one of those, and you'll be like, no. You close your eyes when you answer me. No, you go, no, I don't listen to your stupid voicemail. But I actually like that study. And again, most of the stuff on here that I believe, which I do a lot of, though, but I'll go end up trying the products.
Ooh. Yes, 80% of us will die of cardiovascular disease. 80%. Everybody else that dies will be 20%. So if we're going to vote for something, let's vote for the most impactful damage that we are going to incur due to aging.
Do you know if there's a product that contains those 3 things?
It's not. Well, no. To do the K and the aspirin, you all do 3 products,
okay.
But the product works without those.
Oh.
It works. Now, Dr. Greger on nutritionfacts.org, we talked about this last week, is how should we truly poop? And what they did was they used a X-ray poop movie. So somehow in a toilet they stick a. I guess I could ask Cody about that. How would you put one of your cameras in a toilet, Cody? Well, we'll figure it out later, but I'm throwing the question out. But the study did this, and they found that if you open to more than 130 degrees of angle, by raising your feet is not really that effective. So there's things called potty toddy, something like that raises your feet off the floor. And it wasn't that effective, and everybody buys that. So what he says is, in the study, the statue, the thinker, is bending over. He said, just simply bend over like the thinker, and it straightens out I'm not even going to say it because Clint gets his feelings really.
I don't get my feelings hurt. I'm not
hurt. It's just he just doesn't do well with words like anus and ano and those kind of things. So it straightens your plumbing out, so it comes out far better, more effective. I'm not just joking. This is how we have pooped for about 99.9% of the time on this earth, is going out and having a straight line on the plumbing instead of a bent line. So he's looking up something here that I know will relate to that. But that's just
no, I'm not. So I was looking up something else. I already knew where this was going. We had teased it. So how are you they did the angles. They get a protractor out. How are they taking
the protractor?
They're taking a picture of somebody and then angling okay.
I had never heard the word protractor since grammar school.
Yeah.
Is that was
a
that little
semicircle?
instrument?
Yeah, it's a little semicircle plastic thing.
Wow, protractor.
Yeah, they used to use in spinner. I never knew how to. Yeah,
I didn't know how to use it, but I thought they were cool.
Well, I'm sure they taught us how to use it. I just forgot. But anyway, I'm glad that you've taught us how to poop correctly, sir.
And I know you want to ask this question and have for years.
Yeah.
But what are the brown spots on multivitamins?
Hey, Ed. Mm-hmm. When I take my multivitamins, sometimes, I know not all the time, depending on what brand I buy, I've noticed that there's like little brown spots on some of them. you've done this for such a long time. What are those? Do you know what those are?
What a awesome question, because
That
I
just
was
hit me out
actually
of nowhere.
I just happened to be totally prepared due to this whole study that came
Wow.
out. Because they have been reported on multivitamin supplements at times. I've seen them occasionally. Despite the concern that these may be mold, no. This discoloration is more likely to be spots of the two ingredients as iron or vitamin C that have actually what's called oxidized. We don't really want oxidized. If it gets too long, it just weakens the vitamin. But those brown spots are generally nothing to be concerned about as long as they weren't in high heat or way expired. So there's the answer to the brown spots. There's the answer.
Phew, thank goodness. I was worried about that one.
Yeah, you've lost sleep over it. I know.
I have. Yep.
I know I saw on national news. I love the fact that I'm seeing so many headlines, and these headlines waver from negative to positive, but we've had a big flurry of positive headlines regarding the impact of nutritional supplements and or diets and foods. And one of these is that omega fatty acids, omega-3 fish oils, may protect women from Alzheimer's disease, because it said, according to a study from the King's College London and Queen Mary of London, the research published in the Alzheimer's dementia study showed that the women who have Alzheimer's had far less omega-3s than the women who didn't. Now, is that proof? No, it's not, but it's enough evidence to certainly, again, recommend the use of omega-3 fatty acids. Vital Planet is my favorite. It's the strongest. It's stronger than prescription strength, and you take 2 pills a day. And that's what I do. This was from Dr. Mercola. And, I see people, I think we all have, who have what we call the shakes. And, if you get old enough, your hand's going to shake a little bit more as the years go on. Some people don't shake at all, but there's pretty common. Well, if it's not Parkinson's, it's called essential tremors. And I've had people ask me for many years about that. Not really a good answer, because I don't see people improve on that generally. But this study here was saying that if hand tremors that worsen with movement, not rest, that's kind of important, are often misdiagnosed but perhaps could be linked to a B12, magnesium, and vitamin D deficiency that interrupts your nerve function. So for those who maybe have these symptoms, you might want to, of course, check with your doctor, make sure it's not anything serious. But the use of high-dose B12, as this study says, blood testing for B12 is the most inaccurate probable blood test there is for any nutrient. I tell people that every single time they ask me about it.
What do you mean? I don't understand it.
It means that you can look fine and be horribly deficient. And I tell every person who I look at their B12 level, well, here's the deal. I've just come to the conclusion, if you're on the high end of the numbers, you probably are okay. If you're on the low end, I just assume you're horribly deficient. And so what I say is, let's do a sublingual B12 under the tongue. And if you are deficient, you will feel some improvement within 3 days.
Do you does it interact with other stuff? Is B12 one of those that you worry about if you're taking prescription meds, or is that something you should ask your doctor
about? Not that one at all. Nope.
And that's why you have Kurt there anyway.
Yep. That's
Dr.
why we have Kurt.
Yep.
I don't know if you're really concerned. I know you probably are really concerned about what we call the forever chemicals in your razor blade, aren't you?
You're like I don't know what it's like. You're a savant today. You're like a prophet. I was just telling Cody before we came on here. I said, Cody, man, I'm shaving, but I'm starting to worry if there's things on my razor blade. So you're knocking it out of the park today, man. This is you can ask Cody. I mean, right there he is.
Well, I do feel connected today.
Yeah, because you're acting really connected.
Yeah, because
we're wearing blue shirts.
Blue shirts, and James was here.
Yeah.
So we had a powwow of connections to the mystical world.
Okay, I don't know where that came from, but sure.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, I'm just telling you that there are what we call forever chemicals. What are those? Those are synthetic molecules made by men, not women, I guess. Man-made, it says man-made, so I guess that means only men made these chemicals. And what it does is it means that they actually take 5 to 10 years to get out of the body. They disrupt your hormones. They cause potential increase in thyroid and other cancers. They disrupt the immune system horribly. So I bought, it was on Mamavation, rates and test all these different things. So they rated these razor blades that do not have forever chemicals. So I ordered one. It was like I had a fight with a chainsaw. It cut me every freaking place.
Do you know why?
Why?
because the chemicals they put on them make them smooth. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there are things in my life that I will not compromise. I'm going back to my Gillette blade.
You
and
think?
You know what? F the forever chemical.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here we go.
Yeah, okay. I'm
just
glad
telling you.
we found common ground. And by the
Finally.
way, if we have to keep explaining what forever chemicals are, it's 2 words. I mean, I'm the mouth breather on the show. If we have to keep going, Clint, now, forever chemical is a chemical that's forever. I mean, we kind of got that one.
You are the common man.
I'm not that common. Jeez.
All right, brother. Well, we are about done with this, and I've got one more that I got to ask.
We got time for one more headline.
I want to know, do you use fabric softeners?
So it's really weird you ask that. Sometimes I do. It
Oh,
depends.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't.
Yeah.
And I don't want to. In fact, it always reminds me of being married because I remember going to the backyard and I always smell the scent coming out the back.
I like
vent.
that smell. Yeah.
I liked it until you get associated with a divorce, and then you kind of you get
It
triggered.
got
by
dark
it.
real quick. You want to go back to
and so
how it's going to
but
kill us?
Fabric softeners and dryer sheets release very organic compounds. I'm not going to say forever
Organic?
chemicals. They're called organic compounds called VOCs into your indoor air and exposes your lungs and skin to hormone disrupting chemicals. Why do men have man boobs today? It's because of dryer sheets. That's one of the reasons.
We need to okay.
So if you see a man that has man boobs, give him an education.
Get rid of those snuggle dryer sheets,
just-
boys. That's
They're
killing
gone.
you.
Out of there.
That's why you're crying at the Hallmark movies. Get out of it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. These toxic substances do not wash away. They cling to your clothes. They build up inside your washer and dryer and continue releasing vapors long after the laundry is done. I'm not doing these. I will give up. I'll go back to forever chemical razors, but I will not do these. These are bad. These are bad. Clint. You add this bad on top of another 14 bad, then it becomes a capital BAD.
Yep. I hear you.
Yep.
I don't know where I can turn. I can't eat foods. Don't wash like this. Don't shave. You're pooping the wrong way. You know, your feet are wrong. You're at an angle where your hip joints are. I've got to now be an engineer to take a crap. This is just
And engineers.
Yeah, I don't know if is my back arched? What am I supposed to?
You need to take selfies and we'll get your protractor. Let's get a protractor. I'm going to order a protractor for Clint Powell.
Yeah, you were this close away from doing a TikTok with you sitting like a thinking man on a toilet. I guarantee you.
Oh, the ideas. Yes.
With a protractor drawn in. I'm at 132 degrees.
Last point is breaking news. And I looked it up to see if it was true, and it did appear to be that Trader Joe's is selling organic chicken that has been vaccinated with the mRNA bird flu vaccine and was confirmed via email with the company. I don't understand that because whether you think there's science behind it or not, you don't have an image like Trader Joe's and compromise it with selling something like this. It's hard to keep those secrets anymore. I know that Nutritional is not perfect, but my staff keeps me in line. Let me tell you, if Stacy, we have a single pet food that's not A+, it can't be B+. It's got to be A+. And then people in every category, like Ed, you realize that this product has one single ingredient that's on the very last, but it's not something we normally carry. Hey, we get rid of it.
Well, and I know we got to go to break, but that's how the apple cider vinegar video took off. I told you it gotten bought by somebody, and they changed it. You went and did the research, then you did a video on it. You changed what you carry, and boom.
Boom.
There you go.
Exactly right. What is your podcast, real quick? I haven't asked you.
Well, I have so many podcasts, from crime to politics to health and veterans, business, all that stuff. And I'm helping other people to develop theirs. I send everybody to nougapodcast.com because it's one click. You can find over 13 podcasts. Nougat Podcast. Podcast is plural. So nougapodcast.com. Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Podcasting is an amazing way to learn. I have a daily stoic that I have kept in my file for quite some time, and I really appreciate many of these words of wisdom. But the Greeks and the Romans, they knew how to party. They didn't just host gatherings, they threw extravaganzas. Seneca, for instance, didn't rent tables for entertaining. He owned 300 ivory ones. Let that sink in. The ancients also knew how to drink. Cato loved his wine, and so did Socrates. And while we don't have direct evidence that Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, or Seneca abstained, we do know one thing. They drank differently than we do today. You see, the Greeks and the Romans were famous for watering down their wine. In fact, anyone who didn't water down their wine was considered barbaric, someone who was out of control. A famous poet, a favorite of Marcus and Seneca and many of the Stoics, actually said that 3 parts water and 1 part wine was the right ratio. Nobody but the drunks drank their alcohol straight. This practice wasn't about softening the punch of wine, which was quite strong in those days. It symbolized something deeper, and that something is moderation. For the Stoics, moderation wasn't a buzzkill. It was a cornerstone of their philosophy. They believed in tempering life's pleasure, just as they tempered their wine to create harmony and balance. It's a lesson we'd all do well to remember today. What indulgences in your life could use a little watering down? Maybe you love soda. Try blending it with a splash of diet version. Or maybe a fan of sweet tea? Mix it with unsweetened. Water down your television time by reading during the commercial breaks. Water down your night out with friends by listening to a podcast like Clint Powell's or an audiobook where you learn something. Water down your workout regime with rest days, and water down your whirlwind love affair with time apart. So moderation is the key. Don't overdo anything. Don't take virtue or vice in its pure or unadulterated form, but balance and soften. Boy, that's some good recipe for better health too.
Yeah.
Emotional
Eat
and
4 donuts,
physical.
eat 2.
There you go.
Yeah.
You have got the donut philosophy covered.
Water it
by
down, baby.
Marcus Aurelius and Clinton Powell.
Wow.
That's pretty good partnering right there.
That's sad for him. Way to go and insult the dead dude, but good.
He's turning over. All right, that does it for this week's edition of Vital Health Radio and Podcast, presented by the Vascular Institute and Vein Clinic, 98.1 The Lake. For past shows, go to your podcast platforms or find us online at vitalhealthradio.com.